Karma suggests that our lives are predetermined and that we have to deal with the karmic balance that we have accumulated based on the past lives that we've had.
Seeds of the karma is our mind. The moment of the what you think and that seeds starting. So you are thinking something positive and you're creating good karma, but the something negative, that is a bad karma. Without excuse, you can start good karma in this moment. And because your karma is you're the one driving. You have that opportunity. Doesn't matter man, woman, rich, poor. Only the matters of your dedication and your motivation.
We're in the driver's seat and that we can sort of redeem ourselves of any bad karma that we may have accumulated in our past lives or even in our current lives.
If we start looking at our motivation, our intention, that will help us redirect our mind, our speech, and our action to something more positive, something less self-serving, something a little bit more open-minded, and those are just different synonyms for creating positive karma. When people do bad things, there's a reason behind it. Don't know, but having that don't know attitude will help, because always walking around, hey, that person was bad, that person, they did it. It's like all of a sudden it's more about you and you're just creating more and more negative karma.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dreamcatcher podcast, a place where your dreams can find a voice. I'm your host, Celine Chenoy. Thank you to all of you who return every week to tune in to become a better version of yourself. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, and rate our show if you enjoy this episode. Karma is viewed as a fundamental principle in the spiritual world, suggesting that everything we do, say, and even think generates consequences that eventually come back to us, whether in this life or in the future. My guests, Lama Lanong Rinpoche and Morty Levine, believe that karma influences not only our individual situations, but also the broader social landscape. They're here to share their insights on its impact and to suggest a constructive way to move forward. Lama Lalong Rinpoche was born in the Amdo region of historic Tibet and received a traditional monastic education, and later studied under several respected Tibetan lamas. Today, he teaches Vajrayana Buddhism at the Jigme Lingpa Center in San Diego, California. Morty Levine is an entrepreneur, meditation teacher, and the president of the Jigme Lingpa Center. He also created the Meditation Pro series, a meditation program designed to alleviate chronic health issues. In this discussion, Lama and Rinpoche will demonstrate the principles of karma in everyday life and suggest ways to cultivate positive karma. They will draw from the Buddhist perspective, highlighting how it fosters compassion, joy, and inner peace amidst the uncertainties of life. Hello, Morty and Rinpoche. How are both of you doing today?
Great.
Good.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for making the time to be here with me and my community of listeners and viewers. I'm so excited to get into a topic that has really intrigued me ever since I first heard about it, and that's karma and its connection to our individual and shared experiences. Now, I've touched on this topic a couple of times in the podcast, but I haven't explored it from a Buddhist viewpoint. And that's why I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on what karma is from that angle. And I can't think of better people to talk to than the two of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I can kick it off, and then would love to hear, of course, Rinpoche's perspective.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is that you mentioned you want to hear about karma from a Buddhist perspective, and of course, we're happy to share that with you. But, karma goes back at least 3,000 years, which precedes the Buddha. It precedes Hinduism. It's mentioned in the Upanishads. And so the concept is taught in many different ways, depending on if you're talking to a Hindu versus a Buddhist versus an American versus. So there's lots of different perspectives. And, Buddha examined it quite a bit and refined it. And he taught that karma is far more sophisticated than the simple linear cause and effect that most of us think about. He basically points out that it's based upon intention or motivation. That is the basis for karma. And he also explained that we can stop our perpetuation of negative actions. Life is not predetermined. And of course, it plays a primary role in determining rebirth into next lifetime, which most Buddhists believe in. Some Buddhists don't, but most do.
Yeah, and I think a common misconception that a lot of people have is that karma suggests that our lives are predetermined and that we have to deal with the karmic sort of balance that we have accumulated based on the past lives that we've had. And I'd love for us to dig into that a little bit because that is a concern a lot of people have.
Mhm.
Okay, so karma, you can put it is symbol is individual mind. And why like a bigger point of view of the karma is karma of the world, karma of this planet, karma of this country, karma of this state, karma of this city. Everyone has a different weather, different things they're dealing. That's their karma. You see, everybody wants warm weather, but maybe too warm or too cold. And then the karma of the country, some wars, some go through so difficult, some have light, good life. All that's is karma of the country. And then the seeds of the karma is our mind. When the moment of the what you thinking, that seeds starting. So you are thinking something positive and something beneficial, and you're creating good karma. But there's something negative to wish to somebody go down or die or something happened, that is a bad karma. Starts with that. And the karma is also, everybody says, oh, that's my karma. They don't want to change it, but everyone has wanted to change if you want. So without story, without excuse, you can start good karma in this moment. And because your karma is you're the one driving. So, and that's why the bad karma you can develop into turns to evil, to kill something, do bad things. Yes, you have that seeds, the karma of the seeds. Or you wanted to really focus meditation and also good things of your body, speech, and mind, and to enlighten. You have that opportunity. Doesn't matter man, woman, rich, poor. Only the matters of your dedication and your motivation.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that, Rinpoche. That is very empowering to know that we are we're in the driver's seat and that we can sort of redeem ourselves of any bad karma that we may have accumulated in our past lives or even in our current lives. You do talk about two different types of karma, the light karma and the heavy karma. And I've never heard this classification before, so I'd love to know more about the difference between the two of them.
So there can be many of them too. So you see, karma is like this. If you and like home say, oh, I want to go to hunting, I'm going to kill deer. Then you have to buy the gun, you have to ready for there, go there, hunt, you kill. That means completely karma. But the seeds of the karma is you start with what you're thinking. You see your mind, the karma. And what I'm talk about is like when you're driving in a freeway, you kill a rabbit or birds. You think is, oh, I killed them, create a bad karma, but You just only have karma to go in that direction. The moment the animal need to die, that's animal's karma. You don't have the fully karma, and also you don't have heavy karma. But the heavy karma is that we create thinking about and then create and prepared and do it. Then you get completely karma. Sometimes you sit in a couch and a living room, think I wish to, oh, this politician I don't like, I hope somebody killed or something bad thing happened. Actually, you creating the bad karma too. And mentally, there's a mental environment, speech karma, action karma. There's so many ways to karma is, the symbol is connected with your mind, but
Mhm.
many has to go on, like a tree, just the root and then goes the branches and leaves and flowers and
Yeah, I love
something.
that analogy. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. How can we become more conscious of the karma that we're accumulating on a daily basis? Because you say it's important to pay attention and know what to look out for. So, what should we be vigilant about in our daily life so that we are more likely to accumulate good karma than bad karma?
Uh, you see, everybody thinks I'm good. That is the ordinary people. We are humans, very selfish and self-centered. They think, oh, I know better. I'm better than this. I'm better than that. That's we have. That's kind of automatic. But we have to begin to realize what we're thinking. And we always like judging others. That's only you carrying bad karmas because some true, some not true. But begins to really judging our own mind, thinking, what's we thinking? You're thinking some good things done with yourself and others. Actually, you're creating good karma. So we
Mhm.
need to work with our own mind. And then in the speech, what you thinking about, that's your meditation. What you talk about, and that's your praying. Oh, you talk about something, oh, this person's so bad, blah, 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 but actually you contribute a negative speech. But if you talk of something positive, some brings good energy to the world, to the community, and that's a good karma. The moment when you're thinking something. So that's why we now depends with the world or others. We have to begin to start with in ourselves, with our heart. We want peace in the world. We start with our mind. And we want to peace in the home. You want to start with your mind. You want to have good karma, then you start with thinking something positive, talk something positive, do something positive. There.
So, it all starts with the mind. That's where the
Yes.
seeds of karma. Yeah.
The mind is the driver.
Oh, Celine, I'm going to add a little something there. So,
Please
they've
do.
done a lot of studies now, show that we human beings think something between 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts in a 24-hour period. So, and that's interesting. Well, that's a lot of thinking, obviously, a lot of
Yes, it
thoughts.
is.
What's more interesting is about 85% of them are the same thoughts we were thinking about yesterday. And 10 or 15% are new creative thoughts. So that 85,000 thoughts from yesterday, or 85% from yesterday, that's a habit. We've created a habit.
Yeah.
We're
Hmm.
repeating ourselves. We are ingraining even more and more our thoughts about yourself or some other people or some situation. You're really creating those grooves. So, but we don't really necessarily know that because we're just kind of going about our day really with this monkey mind. And for people who meditate, then you become more sensitive and you realize, oh, I'm thinking about so and so again, or oh, I'm thinking about myself in a certain way because you become more sensitive to your thoughts. And meditation does not have to be someone sitting there on a cushion, eyes closed, om. That's great. We love that. But meditation can be working in the garden, could be swimming, could be all different types of actions. And that will sensitize you to what you're thinking. And then, as Lama said, as Rinpoche said, that's the seed. And then you notice, oh, I'm thinking some selfish thoughts or negative thoughts. And then you have the, as you mentioned earlier, you have the opportunity, you have the option to make a change.
So essentially, by becoming more aware of our thoughts through meditation, we will prevent the repetitive cycles that we experience, karmic cycles we experience in our life.
Good. I'd like to, a little refinement. You have the opportunity, you have the option.
Okay.
So you have to first recognize it, be aware of it. And then you have to say, gee, what do I want to think about now? Do I want to think about that? Or do I want to think about this? Or do I want to observe my breath? Or do I want to say a mantra? Do I want to think about something positive? How do I want, what do I want to, where do I want to put my mind?
Another perspective that I found very interesting in your book is that the way we think about ourselves also causes a type of karmic action. How so?
Yes, definitely, because we always right away thinking, I know better, and is me, then already automatically developing pride. And then also we have this jealousy, hatred towards all these thoughts created the certain levels of jealousy. And also then we have grasping, attachment, all these things also created a certain karma. But each one has like two sides, like ignorance. We are sort of ignorance because we don't know in this person thinking and the truth, but we make a judge and say, he's bad, she's bad. But the truth is we don't know what's their motives. Really, the 100% you ask, you don't know. So that's the movement is called the karma ignorance. The ignorance is the seeds of all the karmas, because all the negative karmas. Then we, from then judging, then jealous, and then pride, all these things. Then all these things are driving our mind, then only create the bad karmas and suffering ourselves. So that's why we have to realize, and then to wisdom, we can need care to wise to not judging the others, begins to judging ourselves, to create in a very simple way. Jealous is not never done affect anybody. Stop jealous into more happy for them, more pushing. I'm just so happy, okay? Even though your partner says, oh, I wanted to go with somebody. If you want to that, I'm happy for you. Like that kind of, it's just hard things, but you can
I
change.
know. It would take a very conscious person to do that, because most human beings are competitive and they're envious of people who have more than them.
Exactly. That's why somebody has more things than we don't. Like, I'm not sure, oh, he's or this, him. Or somebody like go through, in especially America, maybe the cats and dogs, they're more paying attention than humans. So you see, what I'm just want to say is, it's a simple, we work with our mind. It's really simple, but we have to recognize what's going on in our mind.
Celine, I'm going to add something to that, which is that
please do, Morty.
We can categorize our habits or our mind. Let's say if we I want to know our motivation, right? Because our motivation is the core of our karma. And if our motivation, if we look at it, we're sensitive, we look at it and say, gee, what is my motivation for doing something? I'm going to write a check for $100 to a nonprofit organization because my neighbor wrote a check for $90. And if on the program it shows I donated 100, he donated 90, I'm going to look better. Or I could donate a check $100 because it's going to help the kids, feed them, give them pens and pencils, whatever. So two very different motivations. One is clearly self-centered and the other is selfless. So we look at our motivations. Another way of looking at it is that if the more certain, the more concrete, the more permanent our views and opinions are of ourselves, others, situations. I'm sure that politician, I'm positive, or even about yourself. I'm a great father. I'm a great, that kind of permanent sense of views and opinions that generates negative karma. And when someone is very open-minded, yeah, that's possible. I don't really know people's motivations, then that generates positive karma.
Thank you for adding on to that. Now, I have a question for both of you that has been plaguing me the past couple of months. I'm not sure if you know, but in the North America, there have been a couple of aviation disaster crashes that happened, one after the other. A couple of them have happened within a very short span of time. There's just one that happened, I think, yesterday, 2 days ago. A private plane crashed. And it relates to this perennial question that people have always had, which is, why do like these sort of things happen to good people? And why do sometimes good things happen to bad people who may not be very conscious or morally aware, or doing things that are in alignment with higher values? What are your thoughts on that?
And that is it's very simple. You see, we always think, oh, these people is good, these people is bad. That's kind of mind. But in the karmic world, we have to go to the maybe 1,000 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes. One lifetime you did something good. Maybe this lifetime come into that moment that maybe on something poor person or bad person, something good in happening because there's lifetimes karma. So you see, we don't know the karmic will because only we know just what we see. There's a story I can tell you, but maybe too long, but I don't know. In Tibet, once yes, there is a great Lama went to the mountain. He fought a retreat, and he has attendants, monk. They are meditating. That's it, or to that day to die. So there's a mountain. There's an ego living, like an ego family living at one side, and on one side there's a village. In the village, there's a orderly woman, nun. So then the monk also become very enlightened. He can see the past, present, future, all tense same time. Like looking upon your hand. So then he looked like, wow, the nun lady was working so hard. She was doing the past stations and every day meditating, every day praying so hard. And she died. She born as a cow. And then the egos, the killing thousands lives every day, just stuck in you go to that near the rock and the smell is spoiled because so many dead bodies. They are so good hunters. And one day one ego dies as a best, very great healer and very famous. Everybody goes to him. And then the monks, lunchtime, he said, I need to talk to the masters. The master, I need to talk to you. The master said, what? He said, I think we should go because the karma doesn't really work in. If the good people get bad people get good. This is not fair karma. And the master was pairing the monk. He was laughing. He said, it's okay. Just you looking in the one lifetime. You have to need to know the connections many lifetimes. So then they stayed there getting old. And that cows they used by monastery carry the rocks and build the stupa, like pagoda, beautiful. And the cow's back is broken and so much suffering. And the cows sometimes can't really walk, but still these people use for carrying the rocks to build in those pagoda.
Yeah.
And then what's happened is, uh, and then one day cow dies, and the straight went to Buddha Amitabha's realm, and in the sky there's a rainbows appears in a beautiful little rain, and a magical weather creators. And the master said, look, I told you, she finished the bad karma. That's the ended all the many lifetime karmas. That's why she have to born as a cow. She have to create the finished karma. That's why she suffered a lot. But now you look, she finished the karma. So then the ego healer was so famous. People, if I need healing, you have to give him horse or more some things. Then he's a very successful, rich, abundance. Then Lama said, I need to do something. He was 80s, like a very old man. So he went to the cave and he said, don't talk to anybody. Don't accept anything because we don't want karma connections. Anyway, he went that. One day this a group of people come to their cave, and the monk went out to talk to them. Then they said, you know, our healer died, but his clothes are like a beautiful fabric, because that time is no good fabric, then there's no good clothes. But the offer said, please give it to your teacher, do some prayers. He was so happy, like, oh, I'm so happy, and these good clothes for my teacher. He was carrying the coming. Then he's like, oh no, teacher said don't talk to anybody and don't go out and don't accept anything. So he threw it in outside of the cave, and we come in. Then teacher was already back and crying. And then he's like, why are you two crying? His teacher said, he has so much heavy karma. I really want to help him, but you receive the gift, then he don't listen. His consciousness don't listen. He's like, you want my clothes, you took everything. He's mad. Now I can help. He was crying, and the monk was there. Then the Lama said, go outside, look at them there, the clothes. And there's the biggest, humongous scorpion, humongous one, like a size like maybe couple feet. And suddenly there are many black bugs eaten alive. Then a red bugs, all kind of colored bugs eating that scorpion. The scorpion was moving, and when this rock, an ego rock, and the ego rock was cracked, the scorpion went inside the rock, then they closed. The Lama said, and the end of this order, that only he had a chance to release it. So it's the sort of karma. This is a true story, and that really happens in the place and in the history. So what I'm saying is, we only just see this lifetime and what's going on, but there's all kind of karma connections is far away as a 1,000 years. Shorter is, past life. So something like that.
Thank you for
Sorry, too long.
O'Shea. No, that's a great story, and I think it really illustrates how we are kind of dealing with our karmic bank balance, I guess, over a span of many lives, and we may not know what we're paying back or what we're gaining in a certain lifetime. So thank you for sharing that. That's
Right. So we also, most Buddhists believe in rebirth. Some don't. And so we're not here to try to convince people of anything, just to be more open-minded. And if you can go on YouTube and you'll hear some stories that are documented by 2-year-old, 3-year-old children that remember some of their past lives, and documented by scientists and doctors and things like that. And that gives you a sense that, yeah, we did in some way, shape, or form, or our consciousness existed before. So the people that died in that very unfortunate, several, like you, as you mentioned, aviation accidents, that unfortunately was their karma. We don't blame them. We don't accuse them. That's just what happens. And so we can't really go back and fix anything. The only thing we could do is just start now, where we are, don't know what I did 3 lifetimes ago, no idea. But I am where I am now as a result of that. And I'm just going to do the best I can from here on out.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the upcoming launch of my new book titled The Nomadic Soul, a seeker's guide to finding a sense of self and belonging in the modern world, which highlights a profound yet often unexplored part of your identity that holds the key to everything from answering your biggest questions to finding deeper meaning and joy in everyday life. Visit thenomadicsoulbook.com to learn more, download a free chapter, or to buy a copy. What would you tell somebody who is dealing with a very difficult person, acrimonious, not playing fair? In that moment, they gain that advantage over them or they get their way. How do they kind of make peace with that? Because I know Buddhists would say, learn to forgive, because that would liberate you rather than holding on to the resentment of someone who does you wrong. Does the whole concept of karma, would it give them some sort of comfort that they will get what they deserve for their wrongdoing?
I mean, we feel better because they're going to get their punishment eventually.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that? Yeah. I'm not sure that's how we want to deal with it. Rinpoche, before I speak, Rinpoche, did you want to?
But I know people who think like that.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
You have to use your wisdom.
Yeah.
Even though you know somebody wrong doing some things, first of all, you know the truth in behind his motivation or her motivations. You have to really need investigating to make the conclusion.
Yeah, but Rinpoche, what if they cheat? What if they take away your money, your partner? They do something that's really wrong.
Yes, but sometimes even though they're wrong, but they think is doing something right. I'm right to do this and this. So that case is always need wisdom to. It's not upset, not rush. That things doesn't have. So you have to first come in yourself. And secondly, you have to be sort of, okay, that's the way this person wants. That's his karma. It's not my karma. That's just for sure. Then why you want to be upset? Why you want to be? And so, but then you sort of, I can say something maybe in a face, in a just nicely way. You don't want to the kind of anger way, but try to talk to. If you can change, you can do it. If you can't change, then you just like, okay, accept. That's the person I know. I learned, and I have to be careful. That's it. So it's really, you see, sometimes somebody doing some bad, then we think it's all that bad and upset and things. Then we become, it's like that person. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So better to not lose our heart and just keep away from that. Be wise to learn something.
Okay.
Yeah. So our job is not to police the world and point out all the negative things that are happening. You know, there's some politicians
boy, do people
out
need
there,
to hear that. Especially in their online, the world where people feel that they have the right to, express their opinion, and they're so dogmatic at times. So.
And Michelle on that list too. So, there's some politicians out there. Guess what? We don't agree with them. You don't agree with them. A lot of people, there's a lot of stuff going on. But that's not my job. My job is to create positive karma for myself and hopefully help the world. And if I get upset, angry, annoyed, irritated, jealous, or whatever, because that guy didn't do what I think he should be doing in that position of power, that's just creating negative karma for myself. So yes, if I can do something about it, like, oh, I'm going to vote for someone else next election, great. Support someone else next election, great. You can do all that. But we don't want to, as Lama says, lose our mind and start going down the world of, oh, or my boss is so negative and sexist and a bully, bullies and this and that, and it's not fair. Yeah, we can recognize that, but you don't want to take that in and perpetuate that negative karma. So it's an opportunity for you, as Lama said, to just settle down. We can do that because we meditate, hopefully more often than not. And if we can change that person, help that person, have compassion for that person. Obviously, they're in pain. Obviously, they're suffering in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, they were not treated well as they grew up this lifetime. You can focus on those things. It doesn't change, may or may not help them, but we need to have a better control over where we put our mind.
So what I'm hearing is come from a place of compassion, take the higher road when you're dealing with.
Absolutely. If you can. It's not that easy because
I
we're so
know.
angry about why
Yeah.
they're doing something. But yeah, you want to try to create and develop that, not because it's just some kind of made up thing to trick our mind. It's because that's the truth. The truth of the matter is when people do bad things, there's a reason behind it. And it could be from this lifetime, could be domestic abuse, sexual abuse, other kind of psychological abuse from this lifetime, previous life. Who knows? Don't know. But having that don't know attitude will help because always walking around, hey, that person was bad, that person, they did it. It's like now all of a sudden it's more about you and you're just creating more and more negative karma.
And you feel
Yeah,
that in
those
your body. You feel that in your body when you're doing that, when you're criticizing, when you feel like you can just judge everybody and everyone's actions. It feels very heavy.
yeah. So there's a simple way is, and I always say be wise and calm. And something really bothers you, don't like, then that's not you. You have to be keep away from those kind of people, first of all. Or you can learn and study, like, wow, I want to be that. What is wrong with this person? And sometimes maybe you learn a lot of things too. Maybe this person go through all difficulties and things. Then you're like, wow, I learned so much. This person this way because of their cause and so on, so on, so on. Or now also you have to have compassion because some people are so ignored and selfish and self-centered and so negative. That people need more love and compassion for sure. So we have to look at which level we can go and go with that level because you just don't, and you can't deal, then why you just facing that, just live away from that situation, move away. Or just like you, oh, I'm going to learn and study these kind of people, and you can so much become wise in the learning. Or you can see this person are definitely that kind of people, a lot of problems and maybe in the home, their life, early children, when they're young, they go through different things and then the motivation changes. So you're like, oh, wow, I don't want to be that way. A compassion for this person and the similar people in the world. So there's a wise way to work with our mind and our thinking.
I love that. So far, we've been talking a lot about individual karma, but I also want to talk about collective karma. And I know you cover that quite a bit in your book. You say we are living in a pretty divisive, turbulent time. And what does karma have to do with that? You say that we are all part of the problem, but we can also be part of the solution. Can you say more about that?
As I say, is right now we are dealing with the karma of the world, the karma of the country, the karma of the weather where you live. Each state is different in like US. So, and there is far away is thousands of years connections this way. They have to go through this kind of situations. So, this karma is a very rich and very deep. So, and this kind of times doesn't matter where you live, where you are, is also there's a very good things happening too. But we always connected with the bad things because of the news always they talk about negatives, like
Yeah.
two bodies, like right side news or left side news. So America, there's two ways, and they all like blame each other, negative each other. But if you begin to connect with the positive side, the energy, it's like, for example, like this country is a great country. America is, we are blessed to live in this country. Think about how many bread, how many food, how many choices we have. Another countries, some only don't have good water. So I grew up in the communist region in China. So I know what's like there. And you grow up and hear somebody complain. I'm just laughing. So of course there's a long as a samsara, long as a human beings, there's a good and a bad. But what I'm saying here is we need this connected with the more positive side. Look at the positive side, because we humans always looking for negative side. That's why always we get negative. One time, this great teacher, he gives a piece of paper to the other class and has a little dot. And his teacher said, just write about this piece of paper. What you see, this paper. All the students wrote the little dot, say, oh, this dot, on this dot. And the teacher says, this piece of paper is 1,000 times. He said, in this little dots is just still small, but you only look at the dots. That means you always look in the negative. You should begin to look at the white paper and you should write something, the regular the paper. So what I'm saying here is we begin to be positive and really enjoying the every moment of life. That's very important.
Thank you for that answer. More, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about collective karma. So, yeah, it starts really as individuals. We get to vote for someone or not. And in other countries, it's a lot harder. Obviously, they don't have democratic elections. But that can grow into what we have now, which is you have groups of people with a very strong, similar mindset. But you can go back into Germany and before, Hitler came into power, and then people had options, not easy, to support or not support. So, and that's when it starts becoming group karma, collective karma, things like that. But it all starts with the individual, and then we can influence each other as individuals coming together as groups, families, or as Lama said, states, countries, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we think it's, oh, I'm one person, but what you thinking, what you doing make a difference. And there's billions of people in this world, but also you are mentored energy, karmic level is you're also part of the puzzle.
Yeah, those are great answers. Thank you so much. So before I let both of you go, I have one last question. What is it that you wish people knew about karma that most people aren't aware of?
Maury, you can go first.
It all comes down to your intention and your motivation. So if we can ask ourselves, I'm thinking of doing this, I'm thinking of saying that, I'm thinking of doing some kind of action or speech or thought, and you have to, kind of check yourself a little bit and just, hey, what's my motivation behind that? Is that to self-serving? or is to help someone else? Or is it a combination of the two? And I'm not saying, yeah, we have to go get jobs and make money so I can serve and feed myself for sure. But that doesn't harm anyone. If anything, that's helpful. But if we start looking at our motivation, our intention, that will help us redirect our mind, our speech, and our action to something more positive, something less self-serving, something a little bit more open-minded. And those are just different synonyms for creating positive karma.
You see, it's a very, very important to begins to thinking and consciously something usefully, something benefit ourselves, others. And then what we talk about is we put in, we say words. Actually, in these days, relatively also we put into the world. So that's why when you say something, you have to take a responsibility. And also motivation is something done of it and others. Then what you do, that also same time you have to create the simple, meaningful ways to do something, because this life is a vehicle to make a difference in ourselves and make a difference in the world. You see, that's why we have the power. It's like you want to be Buddha. If you work it enough, you can be Buddha. It's like you see little lady from Bulgaria went to Romania, went to Mexico, went to in India as the Mother Teresa. She says she's a little lady, okay? Just looking is not a strong lady. And so you see, she says, people is self-centered and selfish. Love them
Anyway,
anyway.
yeah.
And so she won Nobel Peace Prize. We all has that opportunity if we give up our fear. Because she gave up her fear to take out the homeless, poor people, sick people, wash them, and went to India, even though burning her home because different religions, the reason, humans always looking for something. So, but she never gave up. So we have that opportunity. You want to be Buddha, or you want to be evil, you want to be just waste your time every day just eating and walking and eating and then go to die. And you maybe kill some money, but when you die, you can take a penny. So you don't know who's going to use it. Some people not enjoy life. I think it's very important to enjoy life and do good things as much as you can.
And we always have that choice.
Exactly. We are the driver.
We are the driver. Wow, thank you so much, Morty and Rinpoche. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. And I have to say, both of you are such a great team. Like you have great synergy, and you do a great job by delivering the wisdom together. So thank you so much for making time to be here. And I'm sure that our community will really love all the insights that you provided with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
And we enjoyed talking to you. And Mori always working and try to make a better world. And that's why he studied with me, and also we are become the best friends. So you see, and you are also karmically part of this too. So thank you for this opportunity, and anything, something positive, we were happy to, do our best.
And I want to let all our listeners and viewers know that if you want to get a copy of Morty and Rinpoche's book that's titled The Beginner's Guide to Karma, How to Live with Less Negativity and More Peace, you can find it in any bookstore or their personal websites.